My name is Daniel Scharf, and this is my Auburn ID. And I'm going to be taping an ankle. All right. So to start, it's important that whoever's ankle you are taping, that they're in dorsiflexion. And because if they're not in dorsiflexion, they will have a lot more mobility and chance to roll their ankle. Like there's a lot more movement here than in dorsiflexion. There's not as much lateral movement. So to start, we'll start with primer, and you want to start where the Achilles meets the calf. So right about here. And you start with primer just because it will make it more comfortable, gives you a good base, and won't like rip hair off or anything. So once the primer is complete, we'll start with 3 anchors. So we're gonna do 1 anchor right where the Achilles meets the calf right here. So we'll do 2 anchors right here, and then 1 on the midfoot. So that is our first anchor right there, and we're gonna do another anchor right below that. Like so. So we have our 2 anchors right here, and then we're gonna do 1 on the midfoot where the 5th bone ends. So right around the midfoot right here. And we're gonna do 1 anchor right there. Perfect. So next we'll do our 3 hooks and stirrups. So we'll start with the stirrups. You start on the lateral side. That way you're kind of pulling the foot this way, not towards inversion. So we'll start on the anchor, go around the heel, and end on the anchor as well. And that's the first stirrup. It's important to get everything nice and flat. And then we'll start with our first hook. So the first hook starts on the midfoot anchor, laterally, and goes around the bottom and ends on that anchor as well. And then we will just do 2 more of those, spreading them out a little to have more coverage of all of the 3 main ligaments in the ankle. So we'll do another stirrup right there, and then another hook right here. And then it's important to remain in dorsiflexion the whole time. So another hook. And then 1 last stirrup, starting on this anchor, around to this anchor. That was the last stirrup. Now it's time for the last hook. And it's important when you're doing the hooks not to close all the way around and kind of suffocate all right here. You want to leave a little gap for when we do our figure 8s and heel hooks. So next will be the figure 8s. You want to start on the lateral side, kind of the same idea. So we're actually we have a nice little gap right here, and we're going to cover that up with the figure 8. So you'll start on the lateral side again, go around, do your figure 8, and end just about where you started. There we go. And then you're gonna do 2 figure 8s. So I'm gonna do another one right close to that one. All right, now it's time for heel hooks. So, or for the heel, it's kind of a U shape. We're going to do 4 of those, 2 on each side. So the first one, we're gonna start laterally and come down around the heel. As you can see, it kind of makes a U shape. And we're gonna start about where it ended. Then we're gonna do another one that starts medially and then come around the heel in kind of a U shape and back to where we started. And then we're gonna do it again. So another laterally right here. Come around the heel. Make a nice U shape where we ended. And then same thing medially. All right. And then once you've done all those components of the basket weave, it's important to make it look pretty and do closing anchors. Closing anchors, one, make it look pretty, but two, also keep everything intact. So I'll just do a couple closing anchors on the midfoot and up right here. One, so that everything looks pretty, and two, that all the tape stays nice and secure. So as we can see, it's in dorsiflexion. The three main ligaments are supported, as we can see here, and those heel hooks have come around in this U shape and back up. So yeah, that is a ankle tape basket weave.